Disney Adventures does whatever they put in Disney Adventures. Yep, here is the May 1991 issue. Don't worry, we'll get to an issue you may have been alive for by the end of, probably by the end of the year, provided I stick to this schedule I have set up and nothing happens to interrupt it. Something will probably happen to interrupt it, because that's just my life. I have no anecdotes concerning this magazine, so let's get to it. Today's featured celebrity is Joey State's Name, seen right here climbing his own ego, looking very Daniel Stern there. And now I'm just thinking about how much funnier Home Alone 2 might have been if they had Joe Montana instead of Daniel Stern. Actually, I don't know, but Daniel Stern's an actual actor, this guy plays football, so I don't know, would that be funnier? I have no idea. But it does look like Kevin just attached a car battery to his nards, so he's halfway there. And down here he's carrying Goofy, which is odd because Goofy doesn't appear in this issue anywhere else. Okay, there is a reason why they teamed him up with Goofy for the cover, but we'll get to that in a bit. And apparently it's classic Goofy as he's wearing that hat. Yeah, not every appearance of Goofy has him wearing his trademark. Is there a name for that kind of hat? Like, was that hat popular at some point in time? I don't know, but it's usually only with Goofy when they're trying to make him all the more, well, Goofy, when he's in the more funny shows and shorts and such, because in things like Goof Troop and a lot of the How to Do Something shorts, I don't know, his hat is absent, but you know, in the newer Mickey Mouse shorts, he has his hat, and the House of Mouse, he has his hat, though his hat is green in there. So yeah, I guess you can tell how goofy Goofy is going to be depending on if he has a hat or not. Kind of like how Donald Duck sometimes doesn't have a sailor's hat. Does Mickey have a trademark hat? I don't think so. Though, kind of funny, Minnie and Daisy still wear their trademark bows, from what I understand, even though that fashion has been out of date for decades. And of course, they're trying to modernize all the Disney characters, so you'd think that they'd give some other indication that Minnie and Daisy were female than a bow. Though, I don't know, maybe they have already. I'm just behind the times. But anyway, yeah, Goofy is holding on to Joe Montana there, and Joe Montana is trying not to fall. Honestly, I would just push Goofy right off. I mean, you know, he's a cartoon character. He'll just fall 5,000 feet and cause a Goofy-shaped crater, and pop right up into China. They can just take a rickshaw home while chowing down on some sweet and sour chicken. You know, life is good when you're a cartoon character. Joe Montana, life on top. Well, I'd say he's only halfway there, but yeah, like I say, he should probably kick Goofy off because I don't think he shares the same cartoon invulnerability. But wouldn't that be hilarious if there was like a movie where it's live action actors, but they actually no, that would be terrifying if it was live action actors except they adhered to cartoon physics. Well, actually, that would be The Mask, wouldn't it? The Mask with Jim Carrey. Or if you really want to be terrifying, Son of the Mask, which, let's not even think of that. Fish with fangs. Ooh, Dracula fish. Blah, 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 blah. Earthquakes! That's a 1970s movie with Charlton Heston, isn't it? Also, former attraction at Universal Studios, plus a knockoff in Tennessee, somewhere like that. We'll get back into that, I guess. NBA Pros, Best Moves. I have absolutely nothing to comment on there. Plus, comics, games, puzzles, and more. They didn't list video game reviews, but they do have video game reviews, so we will get to that when we get to that. Three Musketeers ad, we already saw that. Real rookie cards from the NFL, we saw that. I have absolutely nothing else to say in those regards. And, this is different. This is the intro, except they're using pictures in place of some words. We flew to the 49ers headquarters in Northern California to photograph Joe Montana for our cover. The place was easy to find. Okay, that's kind of funny. We watched the 49ers arrive for practice. Even out of their uniforms, they were huge! While waiting for Joe, we explored the locker room area. We found lots of rooms with projectors, screens, and school desks. One of the coaches, one more lap, told us that these are the rooms where players watch film footage from other games. We wondered how those big guys fit behind these tiny desks. In the workout room, some players were into serious exercise. Not much flab on those big bodies. Oh, the opposite of me then. Finally, our man Joe arrived. Hey, Joe, where are you going with that gun in your hands? He wasn't as big as the other guys and looked more like a movie star. Which is kind of funny because Joe Montana, as far as I can tell, has not had a significant role in a movie. I did look, and apparently he had like cameo appearances in The Bourne Identity and that movie based on that independent pop song, I Could Never Be Your Woman. And some very independent stuff. But no, surprisingly, he hasn't really had that big a role in any movie. Well, you know, if his career had started like a decade later, he probably would be a superhero or something by now. He had a slight injury, from the game the day before, but he was still fun to hang out with and even cracked jokes. There's more about Joe and lots of other stuff inside, so turn the page and adventure on! You know, no joke, this is actually how I used to write letters to my grandma when I was like 8. I'd draw pictures instead of writing certain words. And actually, my grandma went one step further. She'd cut out pictures from a magazine and use those instead of words. So yes, they would actually use things like a picture of a deer instead of dear whoever. I don't know, I'm wondering if I ever overdid it when I was that age, and I'm wondering if they couldn't follow along with some letters. Wish I could ask them. Ah, well. Kotler, another ad for Kotler, and this is a much better ad than the last few Kotler ads. I mean, you can actually see the kid there, or you could see the kid if my camera didn't decide to... Oh, my camera does not like this outfit. It's just going blurry, but... Yep, there's a kid. He's wearing what I'm assuming is an outfit for Kotler, which looks like an MC Hammer formal wear. Because once again, anyone thinking, oh no, MC Hammer just had a style all to his own. No, nobody in their right mind would dress like MC Hammer. No. Here's proof to the contrary. Everybody wanted to be MC Hammer, even the white kids. Of course, this outfit does not belong on a white kid. Heck, it doesn't belong on any kid. Doesn't belong on anybody. I don't know, what are the fashions nowadays? The latest fashion that I heard of, that I know of, were Crocs, and that was like a decade or two ago. I don't know, what are we all wearing today? What's the in thing? And if you say face masks, I will punch you in the face, okay? Okay. And here's the table of contents. We'll get to all this. And, ooh, we get 2 pages of fan mail this time. Must be some super special fan mail this time. So I guess we should start over here. Thank you so much for the nice article on me, Major Magical Dude, in the special edition of Disney Adventures magazine. What a great magazine! Since the time I was interviewed, I had some great things happen to me in the field of magic. In June, I won the Fort Worth Star Telegram's talent show. Best of all, in September, I won first place in stage magic, junior division of the Texas Association of Magicians. Thanks again, keep up the good work. Amazing Ashley Adams, 13 Fort Worth, Texas. Yeah, this is the guy we read about in the fall 1990 issue, I believe, of Disney Adventures, which is technically the very first issue of Disney Adventures. And yeah, he was a junior magician, very talented for his age, and from what I understand, he's still going, he's still performing. He moved over to Melbourne, Australia, but he's still doing different shows for different events. Or at the very least, his website is still up, though if you try to visit the main page of his website, it says, "Be back soon," working on different shows, so I have no idea. I hope he's doing well in whatever he's doing. I just broke my right arm. It's not a lot of fun with a broken arm because you can hardly do anything. I was really upset when I found out it was broken because I had to quit volleyball. Everything I did was double work for my left arm. So now I know what it's like with one broken arm and I don't want another one. Sorry to hear that, Vanessa Kelchner from 11 Bethlehem. Oh, that's her age, okay. Vanessa Ketchler, 11, from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. You know, I've actually been very fortunate in that regard. I have never broken a bone. I've lightly sprained things, but I've never had to put any bandages on anything. I don't really put band-aids on in general. I don't like putting band-aids on unless I have to, like I'm working on something, I don't want blood to get everywhere, but most of the time I just let the cut heal on its own. I don't go for all those antiseptics and that sort of stuff. I just want my immune system to fight the infection. I don't believe in too much help in that regard. Probably why I'm still alive right now, despite my body threatening to seemingly shut down every day. And oh, here's some fan art. Magazines, read them, it's cool. From Lena Shea, San Gabriel, California. And it's an early furry with a early Disney Adventures there. I don't see what that's supposed to be referencing, what issue that's supposed to be. I don't know, it's probably just a custom-made issue. But yeah, I hope you're doing well in the art world, or whatever world you've decided to implement yourself into nowadays. The stars at night. Bright stars give us light. They help us fight the night. At times, stars help the night. This is so by stopping the fight. The pitch dark night gives everybody a terrible fear, but the stars are always there to make it dear. Well, the rhythm is all over in that poem, but thank you anyway, Jeffrey Colazzo from Miami, Florida. But hey, I hope you're doing better in that area nowadays. And, we goofed adventures, huh? I've just finished looking through my first Disney Adventures magazine from December 10th, 1990. That's the one with Fred Savage on it, I believe. And I found a mistake on it. On page 122 in the puzzle section, you have number 3 as the answer to Puzzling Pizza, but number 3 doesn't have the orange slice with pink waves on it. Number 6 does, but the waves are vertical. Please, what's the correct answer? Yeah, as a reminder, here's that puzzle from that issue, and yeah, obviously the answer is 6, because that's the only one with 1 green striped pizza. Everyone else either has 2 or nothing, so it has to be number 6. But yeah, the purple stripes are vertical instead of horizontal, so I think that's a little bit of an error. I think that's just a little bit of a printing error, and it doesn't really matter that much. It's not that noticeable, but yeah, for some reason, they printed number 3 as the answer in the answers section, even though that one has 2 slices of the green pizza, so that is absolutely wrong, so it is number 6, even though there was a bit of a printing error. So yes, they are absolutely right, and I'm glad that somebody else agrees that number 6 is the right answer. So thank you, Andrea Hansen, 14, from Siloam Springs, Arkansas. And then in the December 10th issue, the same issue, the story Looking Down from Mile High had a mistake in the drawing of the 5 tallest buildings. The Bank of China building is labeled John Hancock Center and vice versa. By Jove, they're right! At least I think they're right. I don't actually remember the shapes of these specific buildings, but yeah, apparently these are what they're supposed to be labeled right here. And so thank you, Gillian Slovic. Ooh, 9. Wow, I'm impressed. 9 years old, and you noticed the different shapes of different buildings. That's very impressive. So good luck continuing living in South Brunswick, New Jersey. I'm sure you've moved by now. Sorry about that. Due to a color mix-up, no correct answer was printed for the pizza puzzle, and the labels on the tall building diagram were reversed. Please see the correct diagram above. Thanks for letting us know. I'd say that I feel stupid for not catching on, but how was I supposed to know these things? School has never been my forte. And here we go again with the Olympic Pen Pal Club. Yeah, we saw this in the previous issue. So I did do a little bit more research on this to see what was up with this, like if they just gave you a pen pal and some Olympic stuff, or if you were pen pals with an Olympian, or what this was all about. And somebody actually did write an article about signing up for this club, and apparently her pen pal was in the country that the Olympics were being held, which at the time was Barcelona. So yeah, the program connected you with somebody living in Barcelona and at the same time sent you different Olympic stuff. And according to the article, the pen pals had a good time. They wrote back and forth frequently, and then they kind of forgot each other during their teenage years. But recently they reconnected, and the person who wrote the article is working in Tulsa, working as an editor in Tulsa, and the person in Barcelona is owning a diner that's been in their family for a long time. So, hey, good for them. Good to hear that there's a happy end to this story. And I also tried to look more into Stamper, the USPS mascot from around this time, but no, I couldn't find any information on it. I tried to look into some history, or if this was ever used again, if he ever appeared again, but no, apparently this was only used for the 1991 Pen Pal Club, and even that I can't really confirm because I can't find any information whatsoever. But yeah, there is currently memorabilia for sale from around this time that had Stamper stamped on it, so if you ever want anything from the real cool eagle dude here, then it's available. Super expensive, but available. Actually, he kind of looks like Eddie Eagle, the NRA mascot spokesperson for gun safety, which yes, the NRA does try to teach all you far left-wingers. Wingers. And the post office technically doesn't have a mascot. The closest it's had is Oni the dog from like the early 20th century. And then in the 60s, they had a guy named Mr. Zip, who was like an anthropomorphic zipper / postman. But no, while they use the eagle as an icon, they don't really have a mascot, which, that's fine. Though, if they do have a mascot, hey, why not make it Stamper? Why not indeed? Climb every mountain! Oh, I'm not doing that again. But yeah, here's an article about former Disney president Frank Wells. And in addition to briefly working as vice president at Warner Brothers and then becoming Disney president, he was an avid mountaineer. He climbed 6 out of the 7 highest mountains in the world. I mean, he almost hit Mount Everest, but bad weather conditions forced him down, so he decided to go be president of Disney instead. So yeah, it was second in command right under Michael Eisner. Not a bad place to be. And especially impressive was that he was like in his 50s, 60s when he did all this. So yeah, who says that age has to slow you down? I mean, this guy obviously had more energy in his 50s than I do in my 30s, so... Unfortunately, he did die in 1994. He was in a helicopter with a bunch of other mountain climbers, and there was a huge snowstorm, and it weighed the helicopter down and took a tumble and killed almost everybody on board, so that's unfortunate. I bet if he did live a little longer, he would have tried for Mount Everest again. So hey, well done with what you tried to do. You tried to do more in your life than I will ever do in mine. And we're back with this Chester Cheetah ad, the Cheetos Puffs ad, which we've seen several times, so not recently, so... But yeah, never open your Cheetos like that. You know, you get Cheeto dust everywhere, and that's impossible to clean off. And here's our section on Joe Montana. Yep, there's the star quarterback, one of the most famous players of the 49ers, and one of the most famous football stars in general. And yeah, so they say when they went over to interview him, somebody jokingly shouted out, "You should put him on the cover with Goofy!" And they said that's exactly what they're going to do. And they did. So ha ha ha, laughs all around, until Joe Montana picked one of them up, bent him over his knee, and snapped him like a twig. I really don't have that much to say about Joe Montana. I know that he has exceptionally good football skills, he broke multiple records, has insanely high sports statistics, and he retired in 1995, and now he lives in California, and he makes wine, so, hey, not bad at all. But besides that, I don't really have anything to say about him. What does he have to say about himself? Was football always your favorite sport? Actually, basketball was his favorite, but he got a scholarship to play football. I think my brother got a scholarship in football as well. I don't know, he's a fantastic football player. Also, you're too short to play basketball, unfortunately. What has been the most exciting moment of his football career? He threw a touchdown pass in the last 30 seconds of the game in the 1989 Super Bowl. That is a very impressive feat. Good for you. Do you have any advice for a kid who wants to be a quarterback someday? Well, you have to practice throwing and you have to study like crazy. Yeah, despite a lot of media showing football players as dumb jocks, no, you have to read and you have to watch and you have to study a lot. So, as he says, football is 85% mental. Because if you don't study and practice regularly, then you become a nickelback. And nobody wants that. Yeah, as it says right here, he has to go in on Monday and look at videos of their opponents and learn the 100 or so plays, and then all week they practice, and then they look at more films, and then they go home and study for more hours. You know, that sounds like a lot, but technically a football player's career only lasts a decade, maybe 2 if they're lucky, so yeah, they put more effort into those 2 decades than most people will put into their 6 decades, so yeah, being a sports player isn't as easy as a lot of people think it is. It's not all about throwing the ball and getting the ball back. What's the hardest part about being famous? That people feel it's okay to come up and start talking to you about football no matter where you are or what you're doing? Absolutely. That's something that every celebrity has to deal with. That everybody thinks that the person they are on camera is who they are off camera, and that their entire life is all focused around that. That's why a lot of celebrities have to wander around with hats and dark glasses and that sort of thing. Personally, if I was ever famous enough to be stopped on the street and somebody would just go up to me and say, "Hey, are you such and such?" And I'd say, "No, I'm not such and such." And they'd say, "Oh, but you look like such and such." And I'd say, "No, yeah, I get that all the time, but no, I'm not such and such." And they'd go, "Oh, okay." You know, kind of like that part in A Hard Day's Night where somebody thought that John Lennon was John Lennon, but then he put on his glasses and somebody went, "Oh, no, I guess you're not John Lennon. You don't look like how I pictured John Lennon, so nah, I guess you're not John Lennon. Okay, never mind." Okay, that probably doesn't happen 100% of the time, but yeah, that's something like what I do. Well, we're on the subject of fame and fortune. Everybody hears that professional athletes make a lot of money. What is the coolest thing you've bought for yourself since you became a professional? Well, like I said, he has a vineyard, so he makes his own wine. But at the time, his proudest purchase was a Ferrari Testarossa, whatever, which, considering those sports cars at the time cost $200,000, and that's in 1991 dollars, yeah, I don't blame him. Football fans spend hours when he is, of course, great at throwing in a pass, even in crisis, when the pressure is really on, and he says that Joe always stays calm and focused. For being real calm on the field, are you calm in real life? Do you get mad a lot? I get mad a lot. Well, yeah, you're a football player. It's kind of the stereotype for football players. But yeah, I completely understand. If you have to be calm and focused on the field, then you absolutely need some kind of conduit for getting all your aggression out before and after the game. Which I hope wasn't on anybody living, but let's not think about that. Okay, what makes you mad? Stupid little things. Bad traffic makes me mad. Oh, absolutely. I think that's universal. I absolutely hate bad traffic. I'm always screaming at I live in one of the places with some of the worst traffic ever, okay? Nobody knows how to drive. Literally. A lot of people come to this state from other countries. They do not have driver's licenses, and they're given free cars because of some government programs. So, yeah, they literally don't know how to drive, and they're driving on the roads. And actually, last year, I even got smacked into by one of these people. So, yeah, I understand his frustration. Yeah, he has to drive 40 minutes from his house to the 49ers training camp to work every day. So, that gives him plenty of opportunity to get mad. Yeah, and I can believe that the traffic in California is like 10 times worse than that in Utah. And considering Utah has terrible, terrible, terrible traffic, I mean, I want to go to California one day, but I don't want to drive in California. Did you get teased about your name when you were a kid? Naturally, I used to always get called things like Joe Idaho or Joe Colorado. Well, those still sound awesome. I think you could take Joe and any state and it would be awesome. Even if you're like Joe West Virginia or Joe Tennessee or heck, even Joe New Jersey. Any of those names make you sound like a football star or a stunt person or weatherman. So, yeah, with your name, I don't think you can lose. What was your favorite food as a kid? Ravioli. Oh, God. Ravioli, at least the canned ravioli, the Chef Boyardee type, is my least favorite food of all time. My most hated food ever. If you want to see me throw up, if you want me to instantly throw up, open a can of Chef Boyardee ravioli in my presence. Just the smell alone will make me heave. I have never liked it. Ever, ever, ever. I mean, I'm more okay with the fresh stuff. I'm more okay with the freshly made ravioli where somebody actually creates the pasta and stuffs it with cheese and then takes some actual tomato sauce, like some homemade tomato sauce, and pours it over. I'm more okay with that. I still don't like it, but I will probably eat it. But no, canned ravioli, it makes me gag just watching somebody else eat it. So, which is odd because I love spaghetti. I love spaghetti and meatballs. And in fact, I even love tortellini, but no, ravioli is where I draw the line. What food really icked you out? Vegetables, anything green. But now I eat everything. Well, yeah, once again, you're a football player. You gotta keep up your bulk. Me, I love vegetables. If I can dip it in buttermilk ranch dressing, then yeah, I'll eat pretty much any vegetable. I mean, I'm trying to slim down, but yeah, it doesn't seem to be working, probably because of the buttermilk ranch. Does that include junk food? Unfortunately, yes. Potato chips and candy especially. I eat pretzels now because they're healthier. I eat pretzels from time to time, but I also do eat a lot of sweet stuff and a lot of junk food. Doritos are probably my favorite, like the spicy hot Doritos. That's my favorite type of corn chip. Truthfully, I think I'm on more of a liquid diet. Like, I like sodas and juices. I think I have more liquids than solids. Once again, because I'm trying to trim down, but probably because of the sugar content, it's just not happening. Off the field, Joe seems to be a good dad. He has 3 kids and a pretty romantic guy. When he asked his wife Jennifer to marry him, he didn't want to pop the question just any old way. He hired a plane with a streamer fluttering behind it that read, "Jen, will you marry me?" Then he invited her to their favorite park in San Francisco and waited for the plane to fly by. When it showed up, Jennifer didn't even look up. Finally, Joe's maneuvering. She saw the plane and said yes instantly. Well, I hope nobody else was dating somebody named Jen in the area, otherwise that would have been awkward. Also, you're not going to mention the other 2 times that he was married? Okay, that's fine. How do your wife and kids feel about your being famous? My kids are too young to really know what it means yet. And, the daughter was 5 and a kid at her school asked her for an autographed picture of me. That seemed to, oof. I don't know what's harder, a celebrity's public life or the kids of the celebrity public life. And no, I don't know what his kids are doing. I don't know if they're doing anything nowadays. I mean, hopefully they are. Hopefully they found their place in the world, and they're still alive. On a more serious subject, injured several times during your career, and he had to have a major operation on his back in 1986. Major injuries really happen to a lot of professional sports players, and yeah, one bad injury, and that completely ruins their career. I mean, like I say, a sports star's career doesn't last that long anyway, but that means they gotta milk every minute that they can. I mean, all it takes is one bad trip in the kitchen and boom, their career is over. So, yeah, I felt really bad for that sports star in that one episode of Solar Opposites. And that's one of the reasons why I don't watch Solar Opposites anymore. Doctors told you probably never play football again. Yep, that's the power of the mind right there. He got a lot of help from his family, and he gave himself a lot of confidence, so just kept going. Just wished himself well. Well done. Do you have any secret dreams? Not anymore. I'm living my dreams right now. And more power to you, Joe Montana. I hope that you continue to live a good, long life and that your businesses keep going. And, I don't know. If you want to appear in any movies, then, hey, I might watch a movie with you in it. Who knows? And if you want to see any celebrities in general, there's where you can write to them. Let's see. Bill Cosby, Mindy Kaling, Adam Sandler. Oh, no, wait. Those are people I don't want featured. Never mind. And here we go with our ticket to the movies, or ticket to entertainment guide, whatever you want to call it. And coming up in theaters, Radio Flyer with Elijah Wood and Joseph Mazzello, who think they can turn their favorite red wagon into a flying machine. Sounds cool. You can find out for yourself if they succeed when Radio Flyer comes out this summer. Well, they might have succeeded, but the movie didn't. Yeah, Radio Flyer is kind of like a precursor to Elijah Wood's later North movie, in that it had everybody in it, like Tom Cruise and Adam Baldwin and a lot of other stars. But it gained scathing reviews and absolutely bombed at the box office, and both Siskel and Ebert called it one of the worst movies of the year. Not as bad as the later North, but yeesh, how bad is it for a kid actor if you have to have 2 Norths on your resume before you even turn 15? Elijah Wood is just one of the luckiest actors in all of Hollywood to have gone through so many of these box office busts and yet have gone on to worldwide fame and fortune, especially in Lord of the Rings and, whatever else he's doing now. Also, he was Spyro the Dragon for a brief time in some of the worst Spyro the Dragon games, but again, we can't really hold that against him. And they are making a sequel to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. This time, Ernie Reyes Jr., who played Donatello in the first movie, plays a new character, Kino the Pizza Delivery Boy. That's technically true, but Ernie Reyes Jr. didn't actually play Donatello. He was one of the stunt performers in the suit for the more strenuous martial arts scenes. The Donatello suit was actually worn by a bunch of people for the movies, but Donatello's voice was famously done by Corey Feldman, though he was replaced for the second movie by a sound-alike due to Corey Feldman's arrest for drug possession. But yeah, Ernie Reyes Jr. did play a central part in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, kind of replacing Casey Jones from the first one. And that was pretty much his last major mainstream claim to fame. Later on, he'd go on to be in the cult classic Surf Ninjas, which is still a terrible movie. And then he'd have very small parts in Rush Hour 2 and Indiana Jones Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. And he's appeared here and there. Yeah, his time in the spotlight is pretty much gone. But he seems to be doing pretty well for himself in the sports circuit and the nostalgia circuit. And recently he recovered from kidney failure, which involved him having to get a transplant. So, hey, wonderful. Absolutely perfect. Good on you, Ernie Reyes Jr. I wish you all the best. There have been a lot of animated movies lately. Which are your favorites? Write and tell us which one you like the best. Well, in my opinion, in my order, it's Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Rescuers Down Under, The Little Mermaid, and Jetsons the movie. Though I don't know, maybe Little Mermaid and Jetsons the movie might share a tier. Of course, I'm sure a lot of people nowadays don't even know that the Jetsons had a movie. But yeah, the Jetsons is basically the most successful of the Flintstones ripoffs. They're not as famous, but they have still had a few moments in the pop culture spotlight to this day, so yeah. And yeah, they got a movie, which from what I understand didn't really do that well, but yeah, at least they fell out of the spotlight before they had to do a live action movie, which the Flintstones wasn't so lucky. And then in TV, they're not announcing anything new. It's just Nickelodeon has a whole bunch of older shows on Nick at Night from the 50s and 60s. The Many Loves of Dobie Gillis, My Three Sons, The Patty Duke Show, The Donna Reed Show. Oh, yeah, your target audience is really going to be interested in these shows. Yeah, we'll just watch what your grandparents watched, Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure that some kid back then was interested in these old black and white shows. I mean, it was TV back then. You couldn't just go on to Netflix and pick whatever you wanted to watch like it is nowadays. No, back then you watched what was on and that was it. So I guess if you had nothing better to do and if you were up at like 2 on a Saturday or something and you just couldn't go back to sleep, then yeah, I can see you acquiring a taste for these older shows. I'm sure it wasn't a common taste, but it's not that far out. Look for new cable networks devoted to Westerns, the Cowboy Channel, and science fiction, the Sci-Fi Channel. Yeah, we all know the Sci-Fi Channel, or Sci-Fi, as it's now known today, SYFY, or however you're supposed to pronounce that. But the Cowboy Channel, I don't know if that was actually launched, at least not in the way that they're saying here. So I did find that there was a channel called the Cowboy Channel, but it was launched in 2007 as a rebranding of a local cable channel, of a local Christian family channel. So I don't know what happened to the original plan. I don't know if the Cowboy Channel we have now is this Cowboy Channel, and it just took like a decade and a half for it to finally launch. But yeah, for those who unironically love the Johnny Depp movie The Lone Ranger, there are channels that offer a lot of westerns for you. Bet you're wondering how Parker Lewis Can't Lose star Corin Corky Nemec got his nickname, right? Well, I don't even know who that is, so no, but he got it from his grandmother, so good for him. If you're a Michael Jordan fan, and who isn't, you can tell this was released before Space Jam, check out his new video, Michael Jordan's Playground. Based on Jordan's life story, this video includes original sports footage and the sight of Michael Jordan singing and dancing. No! No, I'm sorry, unless you're doing a Michael Jackson music video, I don't want to see that. No. Also, later on, I think Michael Jordan got his own video game, got his own Super Nintendo video game, because, well, a lot of sports stars were getting video games around that time. Most infamously, Shaquille O'Neal and Shaq Fu, which, is kind of one of those good, bad games when it's absolutely horrible, but a lot of people play it because they love it, ironically. And yeah, the first game is still better than the sequel. And then there's a whole bunch of child TV stars that have been in movies, like Fred Savage of The Wonder Years. They've been in The Princess Bride and The Wizard, and the role reversal comedy Vice Versa, in which he changes body. This is with his dad, played by Judge Reinhold. I didn't even know that was a thing, and apparently a lot of other people didn't know because it didn't do that well at the box office. It got okay critical reviews from what I understand, but no, nobody went to go see it, and it's basically forgotten today. And then Kirk Cameron from Growing Pains also started a movie that had him swapping roles with his dad, Dudley Moore. It's called Like Father, Like Son. Now, an interesting story behind this is that Roger Ebert saw both of these movies. He saw Like Father, Like Son, and he hated it. He said it was one of the worst movies of the year. And then he saw Vice Versa, and he was pleasantly charmed by it. I don't know if he actually liked it, but he said that it was interesting how he liked that movie, but not the previous movie. Personally, I cannot stand body swap movies, okay? I don't care about Vice Versa or Like Father, Like Son or Freaky Friday. I just hate movies and TV episodes and that sort of stuff where somebody switches bodies with someone else. Oh, okay, fine, the Gravity Falls body swap episode was okay. But otherwise, no, I don't like them because you can tell what's going to happen. They're going to switch bodies and then they're going to go, oh no, I can't operate in this body. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. And then they do something really stupid or really funny. And then for some contrived reason, they become a lot more successful than the other person who was in the body. And everybody loves them. And then, of course, they have to swap bodies again because they've realized how hard the other person has it, even though they already made it in the body. So I'm sorry, that is just in my top 5 worst movie plots list, alongside the charming rebel who can do no wrong versus the big bad corporation who wants to destroy everything. And the plots where a tragedy happens and some person or some group of people overreact and blame something innocent for the tragedy, and so that thing is banned and nobody can do it. But there's just one person who really wants to do that, but everyone says, no, you can't do that. But then he does it anyway, and everyone is like, oh, okay, I guess we had nothing to worry about. You know, like Footloose or Coco or Little Mermaid 3 or... God, even The Asylum did that with Santa Claus. So, yeah, not a fan of any of those plots. Where am I going with this? I have absolutely no idea. Anyway, Mayim Bialik? I still don't know how to pronounce her name. Star of the show Blossom, was in Beaches. And then later on, I think I talked about her before. She went on to Big Bang Theory, and nowadays she does voice acting here and there. Like she was the talking dog in that one episode of Star vs. Forces of Evil. And then Star Trek The Next Generation's Will Wheaton was in the coming-of-age movie Stand By Me, which also had River Phoenix in it, I believe, who we talked about in a previous issue. And recently, I've seen a lot of stuff with Will Wheaton in it. He was in that Asylum movie, Jane White is Sick and Twisted, which I've talked about. And recently, I saw him in the shows Eureka and Leverage. Oh, and Dark Matter, unfortunately. So yeah, he's still doing really well for himself. He's one of the king of the nerds. So yeah, everyone hated him on Star Trek The Next Generation, but everybody loves him for who he is in real life, from what I understand. Even though he plays mostly villains in movies and such. And then, of course, Neil Patrick Harris of Doogie Howser, MD. He was in a movie with Whoopi Goldberg called Clara's Heart. I do not know that movie, but of course we all know that Neil Patrick Harris didn't go on to anything else, especially not talking about how he met somebody's mother for like 8 seasons, and no movies involving little blue gnome people. Nope, he never went on to anything like that. And then Debbie Gibson, she's recording, and at 17, she recorded Foolish Beat, which I have listened to, and I'm sorry, it just doesn't really stick with me. And now she's 21, and she's trying to break into the movies and musicals. And she did, eventually. And not really in the way she expected, probably, because most of the movies she's been in are the Asylum's Mega Shark movies, which, yeah, I don't think anybody really wants to be known for Asylum productions. Though she did have a cameo in the Rock of Ages musical, which is better, I guess. And also we have Tommy Puett, I don't know, most famous for his role as Tyler on Life Goes On, which you haven't heard of that show, I don't blame you, I didn't really hear about it until recently. But apparently it was a sitcom from the early 90s, and it was one of the very first sitcoms to feature one of the characters with a disability, in this case Down syndrome. So yeah, that's admirable about the show, and Tyler played like this jock character, and apparently the show ultra killed him in a car crash, so I don't know if he was favorably or unfavorably received on the show, but at least in the end he made an impact on the show. But yeah, he went on to be a singer. He had an album called Life Goes On. I checked out a little bit of it. It's okay. It pretty much just sounds like an album that any star would do when they're trying to break into the music industry. You know, they have the voice for it, but they don't really have the range. So they're usually just limited to like 1 octave. So they usually get the notes, but it's just not, listen to like Eddie Murphy singing or Bruce Willis singing, and you'll probably get what I'm saying. But he does a decent cover of Kiss You All Over by Exile, so, it's not awful. And then he was in the obscure Dennis Quaid, Danny Glover movie Switchback, and that's pretty much all he's done since then. So, I don't know. Well, once again, I hope he's doing well today with whatever he's doing. Oh, this is a different ad. Or is it different? Did we see this ad in the last issue? So these issues are starting to run together, so I really can't remember what we've seen in each individual issue. But I think this is a new one, and yeah, Disney Comics breaking new ground this April, so apparently these are all new Disney comics, so yeah, good luck with that. Hope people bought them and read them and enjoyed them. And here we are with our first comic. We got Chippendale Rescue Rangers and New Kid on the Dock. Haha, you see they're doing the New Kids on the Block font there. Haha, get it? Haha. Hope this comic's the right stuff. Glock! There he goes, Gadget! Turn at the next corner! I'm thinking that's Chip saying that because Dale is in the plane, which, when does Dale ever fly the plane? That's Gadget flying the plane. I was right! CO2 cartridges make great booster rockets! I left, Gadget! But Dale's boosted himself right out of control! I guess I read that out of order, but... Don't you have brakes on this thing? Brakes? I can't even steer! Don't worry, Rangers. Dale will regain control any minute when the CO2 cartridges run out. If he doesn't crash first. Time left again! Well, whose bright idea was it to make Dale the test pilot anyway? You'd think that would go to Chip or even Monterey Jack. Just what confidence did you have in Dale to fly their... I still don't know what their plane is called, but just, he shouldn't be flying any plane whatsoever, whatever. Duck! Gangway, low-flying UFO, chipmunk without a license, get that bird on board! I'm a sparrow, you maniac, not a duck! Yeah, once again, I read that out of order, but they have the word balloons out of order, so can you blame me? Also, down here, we got a rat being chased by a cat, who's apparently craving a 2-course meal with the sausages in that rat's mouth. Oh, Toledo! And the cat is somehow on the plane, and the bird is somehow on the plane. Is the plane still airborne? No, I'm guessing the plane crashed, so... Okay, I was wondering how the plane is still up in the air with the cat on the wing, but then again, the bird didn't seem to be doing anything either, so... See? I told you Dale would make it down safely. Wally Gadget! The Ranger plane went faster than the Sonic Boom Barfarama roller coaster at the park! Somebody call me a taxi. Also my attorney. I'm gonna sue these rats for every penny they have. What's a chipmunk trying to fly for anyhow? Hey, you rats! Come back here with my hot dog, you thief! But I found it first! Too bad, I'm taking it. Or would you rather I have rat souffle for lunch? Yeah, just take them both, why not? Gulp! Are you okay? I'm so hungry! Cheer up, bucko. We're the Rescue Rangers. We're just who you're looking for. If you go down 2 blocks, you'll find an Arby's. Now stop bugging us, kid. No, of course, they take him to their hideouts, and soon at the Rescue Rangers headquarters. So, Willem, you come from Moldonia? Where's that? North, across the ocean. My cousin Philly and I once herded snow bunnies up there. Then you and your father made a long trip, William. And it looks like he's snacking on some mozzarella there, and some Cheerios, and... I don't know what those orange things are, or that, I don't know, maybe that's like a Lucky Charms marshmallow, and, yeah, that's a small slice of watermelon I've ever seen. I don't know, maybe it's like a gummy watermelon or something. Papa dream of coming here, land of cheese and honey, and no cats in America. But what? Well, maybe if you shut up, he'll explain. Papa and I strangers here, no work, no friends, we starve. William, where is your papa now? At Ducks! Bad weasels give him food if he work for them. Make me promise to stay away until bad work is done. Crocky, sounds like criminals are taking advantage of poor William's dad. We gotta do something. We'll start by visiting old stumps at the docks. I realize that my voices for William and Chip are probably going to get confused in this comic, but if you haven't noticed, I don't exactly have that much range myself, so guess you're gonna have to deal with it. Soon at the docks. Has this guy appeared in the show? I don't know. Weasels? You mean Phineas Ferret and his gang? They're trying to take over the docks. Just recruited some new fella, too. A rat. My papa! Stumps? Where might we find this Phineas? Why is he called Stumps? I don't know where he hides out, but he'll show up today. I guarantee it. And apparently this guy's British, so... Oh, I guarantee it too, old chum. See, the crown of ancient kings is coming to the city museum by ship today. If he doesn't make a grab for that, I'll tie my tail in 20 knots. Is that a real tail? It looks like rope. Is that why he's called Stumps? Because he doesn't have a tail? Well, in that case, that would make him Stump, and honestly, it looks like his tail is completely gone, so that wouldn't even count as a stump. Also, why are you calling him Stump? I hope he gave himself that nickname and he didn't just decide to start calling an amputee that. Wouldn't it be easier just to stop him? I'm getting old, Dale. I can't patrol the docks by myself anymore. The only hope for the crown is that horrible guard dog, Thor! You mean him? Sick 'em, Bowser. Them's tasty morsels, especially the old one with no tail. Run for your lives! I'm guessing that's him saying run for your lives. Oh, I don't know what he's talking. I don't know who or what he's talking to. Thor, down boy! Heal! Heal! That'll keep him busy. And everybody scatters. Hurry! Down here! Down where? Ah! Here! Where's here? This is my escape room, son. I lost my tail to that cur, you know. I don't intend to lose any more. Too many new characters. I'm getting my voices all mixed up. Some guard dog you are. We got a crown to protect. And you want to chase mice. Well, isn't that his job? Sheesh, we're not mice. Doesn't he know anything? Well, admittedly, when I first saw Chippendale Rescue Rangers, I did think you were mice. I didn't know what chipmunks were at the time, so, yeah, common mistake, I think. Phineas wants to control these ducks so badly, he's getting dangerous. Rangers, over here! Whoever's talking. What kind of gizmo was that? Looks like a control box of some sort. I've never seen this hole before. Wonder where it leads. Oh boy, maybe it's a jumbo-sized pea shooter. That's a soda straw, you jerk! So we have balloons tied to rocks and a remote thing and a hole in the wall. Gee, I wonder if any of this could be connected to what you're trying to stop, and if you decided to move any of this stuff, then you would have stopped the entire plan, you know? I will not do it! Papa! Quick, everybody hide! You're desperate, chum. That's why we picked you, and that's why you'll do it. Look, that crown is my key to bargaining with old Fat Cat. If I give it to him, he'll give me reign of the ducks to me. Well, getting my English and Scottish accents mixed up there. Besides, chum, if you don't go through with our plan, that little tack of yours won't eat tonight. And what a pity that'd be. Well, I don't know, maybe he is Scottish, I don't know. A pity, a pity. Oh, a horrible pity to be sure. And suddenly, oh wait, did they exit out of the hole? Because all of a sudden they're outside with the remote, or are there two remotes? I don't know. Imagine the little tot suffering in his sleep, his tum-tum empty because Papa can't find a lousy crumb or two for supper. Breaks me heart it does. That was my impression of a sympathetic violin. You can kill me now. All right, I will do what you say, but it is so dangerous, Mr. Phineas. Au contraire, my bloke, it's simple. Flim Flam and I shall nab the crown, and you'll take care of Thor. You got sleeping powder right up the straw. One boof up Pooch's nose, and you'll be snoring lullabies till midnight. What could be simpler? I don't know, a trank dart? That sounds a little convoluted to me. And don't try sneaking out of this either, or your starving little tuck just might disappear. Honestly, the fact that he has no food, I don't think you need to add any more threats onto that. Papa, fade from the sun, you bet. Oh no, that's a different movie. Quiet, lad. You don't want those overgrown bottle brushes to hear ya. Who are you? We're the Rescue Rangers. Friends, Papa. They want to help us. It's too late for rescue. Since we come to this country, luck is bad. I hope for better life, but now I must become criminal, or little Billy will starve. Little Billy, it's kind of like it's kind of like the nickname that Fievel had in American Tail, Philly. I wouldn't put it past them that movie served as a bit of an influence on this comic. I don't know how you do things in Moldonia, mate, but around here, we put villains like Phineas in their place. But we need your help to do it. Is honest work. Okay, I help, for good of everyone. I don't know what accent I'm supposed to be giving him, or what accent I'm even conveying right now. Only moments later. That's Phineas, and he's got the whatchamajiggy. Gadget said it was a remote control unit, but what does it control? Contents check. 1 crown to the ancient kings. And these boxes contain the ring and scepter. Hey, what's that noise? Air attack. Protect the crown. Zoom. Who's flying that dinky plane? Nobody. And somehow that little model plane is sturdy enough to nab a crown, a solid gold crown, well, solid pink gold crown from these guys, and these rats are strong enough to use suction cups to take the other bits of jewelry from them. Geez, I want the steroids that these guys are on. Then nobody just stole the crown! And the ring and scepter! And there goes the dog. You'd think that you'd put the dog to sleep before the plan, just in case. After that plane, Zipper! Thor, come back! Thor! I don't know who was saying that. This way! Quickly! Hide here! All this sleeping powder propelled by a CO2 blast should take care of Thor and those ferrets all at once. They are coming! They're here! Also, Monterey Jack. Okay, I know. Yeah, that is not a good pose for Monterey Jack. Clunk! Woo! Yowzer! Well, gee, what did you think was going to happen, especially considering you put all those things on the plane? But apparently sleeping powder did work to an extent because, nap type flam. Natty night flam. Didn't get the dog, though. Nice call, dog! Run, William! And then we have another subscription card, this time using some stock images from the Bob Saget issue. Small price to pay for such big adventure. Yeah, I wish I was paying the prices of these magazines when they were brand new. Though, of course, like I say, those were 1991 prices, so, I don't know, they might be cheaper nowadays. Papa, hurry! Please! Enjoy your trip! Happy landing! And the dog trips, but they don't try tying it up or anything because it gets right back up. It got knocked down and it got back up again. Uh-oh! I think we made him mad! I think you're right! Dive! Meanwhile, high above, Zipper's trying to get control of the plane, except, of course, the controls in a model plane are just there for appearance because those planes are actually controlled by the remote control, as everybody knows. And down below... What's this? I didn't tell that blinking plane to turn! Drat! That's what I get for stealing cheap merchandise! Well, if they put a fully working control deck in that plane, then no, that plane is not cheap. And high above... Monty, I have an idea! Lean, and maybe we can steer this thing! Let's give it a go! Oh, you don't want to be the Rocketeer anymore? By my whiskers, there's Zipper with the crown! Jump into Jehoshaphat! Monty, lean! No, I'm pretty sure he's about as fat as I am. Oh, I don't know, it's probably muscle. And they somehow pop the balloons. I don't think you can pop the balloons just by flying into them. She doesn't have anything on her. She's giving us the finger, though, so maybe that's how she popped them? I don't know. Double bullseye! That's what I call good aim! Great, lovely. Now just give me solid ground again! This isn't exactly what I had in mind. And down below, and the dog's trying to get and if Thor rips his net, my friends, we'll fall into dangerous waters. Anyone got a snorkel? The crown, and the ring and scepter. Wrong, creamy cheap plane, stupid, lousy, stinking piece of no good garbage. Well, now that you destroyed the remote control, you have absolutely no control over the plane now, so you could have tried again, but now you're done, dude. And from high above, but coming down fast, and Monty, Jack, and Gadget are cushioned by a coil of rope. Yeah, I believe the stack of hay from Assassin's Creed more than I do that. Mr. Monterey, Miss Gadget, chipmunk friends and rats with no tail are in danger. Hurry, your plane can save them. Then let's go. And shortly, hey, there goes Phineas. I can catch him. Fly low, Miss Gadget. Ouch! Well, why are they after him? Didn't they already foil his plan? Like, where are they going to turn him in, and what are they going to tell the police? Oh no, they're falling! At this speed, we'll never make it! Okay, I got a voice wrong a minute ago. I thought that the father was talking from the can, but no, it was the guy who patrols the docks. Like I say, I don't know any of these voices, so I'm gonna get them mixed up. Hold on, everybody! I'm activating the last booster rocket! Help! And apparently they catch them, I guess, because on the next panel, it says, later, I'd be delighted to have you as my partner. I'll put you in control of aerial dock patrol. This plane seems easy enough to handle. And apparently it's a lot smaller than everybody all of a sudden because it's parked on something in the immediate foreground and they're standing right there. So, perspective. I accept your kind offer. Your luck has changed, William. Thanks to Rescue Rangers, our friends. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. And here's another ad for Panini Tailspin stickers like we saw in the last issue. And like I say, these stickers aren't really that hard to come by, so if you want to start your collection, you can probably get a good set on eBay. And who knows, if you get all 180 plus stickers plus the sticker album, that's a good $60 coming your way. Of course, it'll probably cost that much to get all of them. And here's an article about Michael Gerdos, whatever, the world's greatest eavesdropper, who in 1970, at the age of 25, found out about a monster-sized airlift of Soviet weapons that had just arrived in Europe and told Israel's top military commander all about it. And then he was taken into the other room and shot. Oh, no, wait, I mean he was brought on by the military to intercept a whole bunch of communications, which he did for most of his life. He just lived in a teeny tiny apartment, but he had so much radio equipment in there it would make any audiophile of the time jealous. But yeah, that's just what he did. He stayed in his room for 18 hours a day, just listened in on stuff, just things from all over the place. He spoke several languages, and he intercepted some really important radio transmissions, such as Saddam Hussein's announcement that he was going to invade Kuwait. I think that's how you pronounce that. And he also saved the life of President Makarios in 1974 when everyone thought he was killed, but no, he was sending out a very small radio broadcast asking for help. And yeah, that's just what he did for practically all of his life. And apparently it ran in the family. His father was a radio operator who did most of the same thing. It's just Michael took it to the next level. It was actually pretty hard to find information on this guy. Apparently he was very reclusive. I mean, like I say, he spent 18 hours a day in his apartment just listening in on stuff. And because so much of the intercepted transmissions were secret, well, he didn't really give interviews or anything. He didn't do anything to risk exposing himself or state secrets. Though, I'm surprised he didn't set himself up as a target of assassination. I mean, if he can listen to anyone, anything in the world, you'd think that some sniper somewhere would have come over and fixed that problem. Maybe bombed his apartment because, Israel. But no, somehow he was able to pull all this off and just keep pulling it off, even into the internet age, so hey, well done. And I did check to see if he made any more revelations since, well, what they're saying in this book, but no, from what I read, which was very little, unfortunately, nothing from the 80s or 90s or 2000s, at least nothing that's been published. And unfortunately, he died recently in 2017 at the age of 73 from a combination of both a heart attack and cancer, which... yeah, when you barricade yourself in a room for 18 hours a day with all sorts of radio signals bombarding you, yeah, that's going to cause some damage to your cells. No, I'm not one of those conspiracy theorists who think that just holding a cell phone to your ear causes cancer. But if you're bombarded by all frequencies of radio waves for decades of your life, yeah, that's probably going to do something to you. And here's a little bit about how you can eavesdrop. You can buy a little scanner or a radio receiver, and then you can listen in on taxis and ambulance and the police. Except I'm pretty sure that this kind of eavesdropping is illegal. Like, there are certain places that can actually detect if you're dropping in on their call. If you're not supposed to be eavesdropping on the call, or if you don't have a license, then you can get arrested. That's what I understand anyway. We don't really use radio waves and such nowadays. It's all internet and fiber optics, Bluetooth, that sort of thing. So radio waves are mostly just for radios nowadays. But that's just what I understand. So if you want to eavesdrop on frequencies and such, then, well, go ahead, but you're doing it at your own risk, and like I say, there's not really much to eavesdrop on nowadays. And in today's little kid article, seriously, I don't know who's actually writing these. I'm assuming kids of the staff, but it's just about this kid who decided to plant their own garden. They planted some sunflowers, and they planted some tomatoes, and some squash, and some green beans. They really want their vegetables to grow big. They want to plant some radishes. And they're talking about their cousin who lives in an apartment, so they can't plant a garden, but they're planting a garden next to their windowsill and pots, so good for them. And they know about the hazards that insects can pose to a garden, but they also know that they can attract some toads to eat the bugs. And pretty soon they might have a hardy garden. So yeah, that's a fantastic life goal. Honestly, I wish that I had a garden. However, the soil in my trailer park has been salted and coated in a whole bunch of chemicals. I don't know, it was like some big pesticide thing to get rid of all the bugs in the trailer park so that insects wouldn't invade and so more people would be more comfortable. Something like that. I don't know. It happened before I moved in. But yeah, I can't grow a garden because they salted the earth. We did try to grow a big garden back when we lived in Missouri, and we tried some farming, but Nobody could get into the whole farming life, so no, we tried the garden, and then the garden just got overgrown, and we didn't care. But I don't know, one of these days, if I ever get my own little patch of land, then I'm going to grow a garden. I'm going to grow a big garden. I'm going to can everything that I can. And who knows, maybe I'll live 2 or 3 years after the bombs start falling. Who knows? We can only hope. And here's the fish with fangs, the real story of piranhas. Okay, let's see. Finding Nemo reference or Tarzan reference? Finding Nemo, why not? They're a piranha. They live in the Amazon. And apparently most of what we've heard about piranhas is false. Yes, piranhas have very sharp teeth. Yes, piranhas are voracious eaters. However, most of them are vegetarians. Most of them just eat fruit and leaves and sometimes insects. So it's actually very rare for them to chomp down on a mammal, especially a human. In fact, from what I understand, a lot of animals don't like eating humans. Apparently, humans leave a very bad taste in their mouths. They prefer eating, well, indigenous wildlife. Except for Komodo dragons. From what I understand, Komodo dragons absolutely love the taste of humans, but that's just what I've heard. But yeah, even though piranhas' appetites are exaggerated, they're still probably going to cause harm, so I would not recommend swimming in piranha-infested waters. Still, in terms of toothy fish, I think Lockjaw from Donkey Kong Country does more damage than the actual piranhas. And here we go with another DuckTales comic in Deep Sea Sewage. Okay, I have to bring this up first. So in the last issue, during the talk with Webby and Minima, where Webby was trying to get her to be her friend, and she said, make new friends, keep the old, one is silver, other's gold, and I said, I don't get that saying. I think that that's actually very damaging because it suggests that the older friends are inferior to the newer friends. Okay, apparently I horribly misunderstood that saying. Because the saying was saying that the older friends were gold and then the newer friends were silver. So it's the exact opposite of what I thought they were saying. So yes, cherish friends who want to be your friend and who stay your friend for years, but also consider friends whom you have just met and hope that they turn from silver to gold. So that's fair. My dyslexic mind probably just kept mixing the terms up. However, it was completely irrelevant to the situation. Webby was telling her that they should be friends because she wants a new friend because new friends are silver. What does that have to do with the situation? What relation did that have to do with anything? So my complaint kinda, sorta still stands. I admit I was horribly wrong, but there was no reason for that to be in the comic besides to reveal that she had an Uncle Scrooge, and of course everything he thinks about has to be about money and precious metals and, cause that's Uncle Scrooge! Scrooge McDuck, whatever you want to call him. Anyway, Deep Sea Sewage. Our story begins under the sea. Under the sea. Under the sea. In Uncle Scrooge's New Atlantis Marine Base. Yeah, see, even they call him Uncle Scrooge, so it's fine if I call him Uncle Scrooge or Scrooge McDuck. It's amazing that scientists can use a seaweed to cure rare illnesses, Uncle Scrooge. The ocean is full of wonderful things, boys. Wait a minute. Is Scrooge McDuck actually being altruistic? He's actually using his money and resources to look into medicines that can cure rare diseases? Yeah, he's probably going to charge like $10,000 a bottle, so no, I'm not buying it. That fish doesn't look too wonderful. He looks kind of seasick. Jumping jellyfish. He's sick, all right, from pollution. Also, that's a completely different fish, because that one's yellow and that one's green. Yeah, maybe it's an actual disease that literally turns you green around the gills. Uncle Scrooge and his nephews quickly head out from New Atlantis to investigate. New Atlantis, wasn't that like the bad guy hideout from Nadia and the Secret of Blue Water, that anime that everybody says that Disney stole Atlantis the Lost Empire from? I don't know, I haven't actually watched it, I'm just thinking. Yuck! This is the first time I've ever seen undersea smog! Oh, you've never been in any body of water nowadays, huh? I mean, multiple beaches around my area have been closed down because the water has become too toxic to swim in. The wonders of modern day. Where's this stuff coming from? Over there, Uncle Scrooge! The pollution is coming from behind those rocks! It's a pipe! And it leads to that underwater factory! I think that was the nephew. Maybe it was Scrooge. Also, it kind of looks like Louis, I think. Louis has teeth in this panel. Like buck teeth. Whoever's behind the dumping has gone to a lot of trouble to keep it secret. Now that we know about it, it won't be a secret for long. Also, I'm pretty sure that's not how that works. I'm pretty sure that you can't have a pipe like that and then emerge into a room that's mostly air-filled. And I'm pretty sure that's not how physics work. A Smolby Yuck, the worst polluter in Duckburg. I'm saving a fortune with this illegal dumping. Who needs to spend good money to cart away the bad, eh? And nobody will know it's me because my whole factory is underwater, eh? So what are you manufacturing in this underwater factory then? Or is your entire factory based around pollution, which does not seem like a good business sense to manufacture pollution and then immediately dump it out into the water? Wrong, Yuck! We want our water the way it was! Without the lumps! We're going to stop you! Only if you tell anyone, eh? Which at this point seems highly unlikely. And he pulls a lever and it opens up a floor panel with 4 rockets and a net. So there was just a floor panel right there, and he had a lever right there just in case anybody he didn't like was exactly in that spot, ready to be sucked up by a net and 4 rockets. I don't know, that kind of makes the water sprinklers from the last DuckTales issue seem more plausible. But yeah, they're sucked up, they're risen up to the ceiling, and the things tie themselves around the beams. You'll never get away with this! What's the matter, Scrooge? Unhappy with your share of the net, huh? Ha 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 ha! Well, considering that Scrooge McDuck owns all of the net worth in the world, those knots are really tight. Don't worry, all good junior woodchucks know how to untie knots. Nothing to it. And the bad guys just immediately give up on them, like they don't take them down and put them in a cell or something to make sure they don't get in the way. I mean, the pig is just suddenly talking on a screen and, oh, wow, that is like one big F-off Rambo gun that guy has. That's like something you'd see in Tailspin, not DuckTales. But yeah, the nephew somehow untangled the knots, which I'm pretty sure is not how nets are made. Great work, boys! Let's go! Guards, come quickly, huh? Those darn ducks are escaping through that darn duck, huh? And good grief, I was talking about the gun in this panel, and now, holy crap, he's got one big ammo belt there. Oh man, things are getting real for this comic. Have they ever actually showed guns or portrayed guns being fired in DuckTales? I don't know. I know that they had lasers, but I don't know if they ever had guns. What a tight squeeze! I'm glad I didn't have any dessert today. Wow, what's that? It's Yuck's pumping machine, boys. We hit the jackpot. Oh, it's just those random pipes at the top of beams that lead to the very center of the facility and apparently don't have any other use. Apparently whoever built this underwater facility also built the castle from the Black Cauldron. This tube won't be pumping gunk anymore, that's for sure. Watch it, boys. That stuff's pure poison. Well, it's pure pollution, so you technically don't know what's in there. Yuck's guards are heading this way. Don't worry, we know how to give them the slip. There are just brooms in this area, huh? And they can just very easily sweep what's obviously very wet, polluted material over to a doorway, huh? Whoa! Ooh, what the? I can't stop. I can't stop. Okay. Smash! And, oh, God, I actually feel sorry for that guy. He has one fractured chin there. But yeah, they're knocked out and they're dazed and they're dumb. Give up, Yuck! Your polluting days are over! I think you got that backwards, huh? Your meddling days are over! Yeah, I'm gonna get away with it, despite you meddling ducks and your pesky, I don't know, dog. Do they have pets in DuckTales? I don't know. Since you're all so interested in my dumping operations, I'm gonna give you a closer look, eh? Prepare to be shipped out to sea with the rest of the garbage, eh? Don't do it, Yuck! Stop! What's happening? We reversed the direction of your pumping motor. From now on, it's pumping in instead of out. We knew how to do that despite the 2 minutes we had in this room alone. No! Eh? The gunk is rising. We gotta get all these ropes!
What ropes? We're junior woodchucks, remember? We can build a nuclear warhead if we wanted to. It's on page 73, by the way. All the gunk is being pumped back inside of the factory!
Yuck won't be able to clean this place out for 100 years! Which is just how long he'll be in jail! Let's go, boys!
Gosh, we really did it, Uncle Scrooge! We cleaned up the ocean! And we found a very improbable way of escape, even though we were just wading through knee-high water a second ago.
Shucks, nothing to it, boys. I've been cleaning up in the stock market for years. And that kind of looks like the intro to the DuckTales episode, where like a shark swims right up to Webby and she gives it a kiss, if I remember correctly. So yeah, woohoo! A rich guy finally did something good to the environment. Yeah, I bet that his factories that he doesn't bother to inspect on a regular basis are making up for it. And here's that Starburst ad again. And again, I have not seen any Starburst in my area. I have checked multiple stores. They do not carry Starburst. So where are the Starbursts? Do they just not have them in the state of Utah anymore? I have no idea. But here's our main feature on mountain climbing. And I kind of love this. They formatted the text around the rope here. I don't know why they did. I don't know why they're trying to make the rope stand out, but now you can say the longest climbs can take weeks, and climbers can stumble into huge cracks. I don't know why they want us to say it like that, but now we can. But modern mountain climbing can be traced to the Switzerland around the 1850s when English sportsmen climbed the Alps for pleasure. I mean, it was the middle of the sexually repressed Victorian age, so they had to get their pleasure somehow. But yeah, here's an article about Sir Edmund Hillary and his Sherpa Tenzing Norgay as they made the iconic climb up Mount Everest, becoming the first people to ever do so. And it took like 8 expeditions before somebody finally made it up there. For an Englishman to make it up there, I'm sure the Sherpas make that trip like once every 6 months, just because they can. And apparently they made it up Mount Everest because they took a different route. Like the route from Tibet was closed off, so they had to take a different way, and apparently that way was the way to go to get up Mount Everest. So, yeah, aren't they lucky? But they trekked on, and eventually, after about 6 weeks, yeah, they made it up the mountain. And then they pulled their snowboards out and went down the mountain in about 2 minutes in the most gnarly expedition ever, man! No, I don't know how they actually made it down the mountain, though I'm pretty sure it was a little easier than going up the mountain. I don't know, if you're going down the mountain, wouldn't that technically be more dangerous? Because when you're going up the mountain, you can watch for avalanches and such, but when you're going down the mountain with your back turned toward the mountain, then technically it's harder to look for obstacles, isn't it? I don't know, I've never climbed a mountain, so what do I know? Though this does remind me of that issue of Concrete, that comic book superhero, where he's a guy who's had his brain transplanted into this giant rock alien body, and during one of his adventures, he was hauling stuff to Tibet, and he decided, hey, why not climb Mount Everest? I mean, he's a giant rock alien guy. What else is he gonna do? So, of course, he just goes up the mountain all by himself. He actually does make it to the top, and apparently he finds a slip of paper that shows that a previous expedition actually made it to the top of the mountain before Edmund Hillary. Unfortunately, he and his team are then captured by Chinese who want to experiment on Concrete, but he manages to trick them into letting them go, but they take all the records that they had, so their trip up the mountain is considered unofficial. Still, if you can find Concrete, if you can find the comic series Concrete, I highly recommend it. I read like practically the whole series back in college, and it's the most realistic version of a superhero I have ever seen. Like, I fully believe that this is actually what a superhero living in the real world would be like. And by real, I mean like slice of life, like showing the ups and downs of life and being a celebrity. Not the gritty, ultra-violent, everyone is an a-hole, life sucks and then you die version of reality like shown in The Boys or Watchmen or a lot of other media that claims to be real. Because that's not real, come on guys. Now, admittedly, the comic series isn't for everyone. I mean, Concrete is a superhero, but because he lives in the real world, there's not much superheroing to do, so most of his work is just practical and even a little bit political. Like, one of the most exciting arcs is that he's a stunt worker for a movie. And that's it. But I thoroughly love the series, so if you just want some down-to-earth, kind of calm, kind of philosophical portrayals of a superhero in the real world, then yeah, I highly recommend it. And then this is a little article about the Sherpas, and they live in Nepal, and they're located 10,000 feet above sea level, and they're more adapted to climbing high mountains because they consume less oxygen. Don't they also have like 3 or 4 more pints of blood than the average human being because they need more oxygen to certain parts of their body? Something like that, but yeah, all these rich people who say that they've climbed these tall mountains, I don't think they could have done it without hiring these people who actually know what they're doing. And then here's the top 5 climbs about some people who were the very first to make it to the top of some mountains, like Argentina's Aconcagua, whatever. But Zurbriggen and Fitzgerald managed to make it to the top. Well, Zurbriggen did. Fitzgerald had to stop a few feet away because of nausea from altitude sickness. You know, that's what I was talking about in the last issue about space, where this guy had cracked ribs and yet he still flew a plane around at Mach 5. Or Mach 1? Something Mach. Because like I say, injuries are fleeting, but history is forever, so don't let your injury make you history. And then Mount McKinley, highest mountain in North America, and a bunch of climbers undertook the near impossible 30-mile task, and in 1913 stood on top of Mount McKinley. Probably a bigger feat than President McKinley is known for. And then in 1950, French climber Maurice Herzog and his partner, Louis Lachenal, they climbed the highest mountain ever at the time, Annapurna 1, I think that's what it says, and they managed to make it to the top. However, Lachenal lost all his toes to frostbite, and Herzog lost all his toes and fingers. And that's why I'm never going to climb a mountain. I kind of like my fingers, you know, they kind of help me play my Xbox and type out my scripts and all that sort of thing. And then 30 years later, 12 women decided to climb Annapurna, led by American Arlene Bloom. And many thought that a team of women could never conquer a Himalayan peak. Women conquering a mountain? Don't worry, guys, that problem's gonna rectify itself. They'll get maybe 6 feet up before one of the women goes, "Oh, I chipped a nail!" And then they'll be back in our kitchens giving us a cold brew by 6 tonight, so don't worry. I mean, what else do women think they can do? Vote? But yeah, after 2 months, 2 of the women did manage to reach the summit, though 2 of the team also died, while the other 6, including Arlene Bloom, they had to sit the journey out. But later on, Arlene traversed the entire 2,000 range of the Himalayas with her baby on her back, so beat that, men. And then finally in 1976, German climber Reinhold Messner and partner Peter Habler did what many people thought could never be done. They climbed Mount Everest without the use of bottled oxygen. And there's Reinhold Messner right there, looking very much like Kurt Russell from The Thing. Hey, maybe it is related to The Thing. Maybe this whole expedition was just a covert operation in order to get to the top of the mountain where the last remnants of The Thing were and make sure that they stay frozen forever. Can't be worse than the Thing prequel movie. Oh, no, wait, I know why they climbed up there. It's to find the lost expedition of the team sent to build a bridge between the twin peaks of Mount Kilimanjaro. That's an old Monty Python joke. I have to explain it because I'm pretty sure nobody is going to know what I'm talking about. But here's some more things about mountains. You know, we could watch some movies where Eagles Dare, Courage Mountain, Never Cried Wolf. Never seen any of those. There's some videos, some documentaries, and some nonfiction things, and a whole bunch of books that you can read that I'm sure are still in date. Yeah, but then again, I guess that books about mountains are a lot more in-date than books about space. I mean, you know, space, we're learning new things about space every year, whereas mountains, hey, they're not going anywhere. And here is another comic, another non-fiction comic about some people who have decided to go up a mountain. And like the treasure hunting comic and the trains comic, I'm not actually going to read this because it's just a non-fiction story. It's just this new team of mountain climbers that have just completed mountain climbing school. They decided to go up a mountain and just test their skills. And I'm sorry, this stuff is just kind of boring for me to read through. It's just, they're talking about how to properly go up a mountain, what kind of gear to bring, how to not be stupid, which one of the characters is because he tries all sorts of different shortcuts, all sorts of different routes, and nearly gets himself killed in the process. In fact, almost gets a teammate killed in the process, as seen right there. I don't know, it's just more like those comics at conventions that certain groups will pass out to promote their organizations. Just the free stuff that's kind of a story, but is more educational than anything, and just wants you to get interested in their cause. So, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, I'm just saying it's kind of boring to read and summarize and make fun of. So, I think I've had the pages on screen for long enough, so if you want to read it yourself, go ahead. But, yeah, long story short, they make it to the top, and surprisingly, the idiot guy is still alive. And here's the Olympic Festival 91 ad. Once again, I don't have any other jokes to tell. Earthquake! Yes, this is our second feature, and interestingly, it's in the Cyber Kid Tech and Science division, which is... And they usually talk about technology and stuff, but no, this is about earthquakes. I mean, technically, you could consider earthquake science, but yeah, usually they talk about, well, cyber stuff. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of earthquakes in San Francisco and around a whole bunch of different islands, and the strongest earthquake we've had recently was in 1960 in Chile, where it measured a 9.5 on the scale, so I'm pretty sure that roasted their chilies. But Actually, I was recently in an earthquake, in March 2020, you know, when the whole world went to crap. I just suddenly woke up at 7 in the morning and the earth was shaking, like everything around me was trembling, and all the stuff on every shelf I had just fell to the floor and was smashed, and I was just screaming, and I said a very bad expletive, and, you know, I believe in an afterlife, so I wonder what it would be like if that expletive was the very last thing I ever said. In fact, it was actually raining the previous night, so when everything started shaking, I thought I got sucked up in a tornado. I thought I was, like, spinning around, my trailer was spinning around in an earthquake, you know, Wizard of Oz style. And that was the end. But no, after about 10-15 seconds, the shaking finally stopped, though, like I say, practically everything that wasn't nailed down was trashed. And, life went on. Or at least life went on as well as it could for 2020, aka one of the worst years the world has ever experienced. Though from what I understand, it wasn't even that big an earthquake. It was like 4.5 on the scale or something. I think the aftershocks that lasted until like October, I think some of those had higher scale ratings than what I went through. But yeah, it even says right here, if you've been in an earthquake, please write to us and we might print your letter. Oh, okay. Dear Disney Adventures, I experienced an earthquake back in March 2020, and oh no, wait, you went defunct about 13 years before then. Okay, never mind. And yes, there was an attraction at Universal Studios that was kinda sorta based on the 1970s movie Earthquake, but it's closed down now. But there is an independent, knockoff, low-budget version of the Earthquake ride operating somewhere in Tennessee, Gatlinburg, Tennessee, I believe. I don't know. If you follow Theme Park Crazy, you've probably heard of it. But yeah, apparently it's not as well received as its more mainstream theme park counterpart, but it is still in operation from what I understand, and I don't know, sounds fun. If I ever find myself heading towards Tennessee, I might have to check it out. Oh, and okay, here's something more cybernetic, radio waves. When you tune in to a live rock concert on the radio, you hear the music before the people who are listening in the concert hall. I did not know that. I did not know that radio waves went faster than sound waves in a concert. But yeah, this kind of goes along with that whole eavesdropping article that we just went over. So this is how a radio works. So if you can find the right frequency, if you can somehow tune your antennas and your radios, and if you can just find that exact spot for a frequency, then, well, you can tune in on anything. Again, provided they still use radio waves, because the wireless internet waves, whatever the technical term for those is, I'm pretty sure that they operate on a different frequency, and you need a much more sophisticated bit of equipment in order to actually intercept those. I'm sure they exist, but I'm sure they're a lot more expensive and technically a lot more illegal to use. Also, I noticed they're not using the Disney symbol at the end of articles anymore. They're just using the author. They're not using the Disney symbols from the previous issue. I don't know, maybe they just forgot for this issue, or they're not going to use them in future issues. I'm going to have to check. I'm going to have to keep an eye out for that. See if they use any icons to signify the end of an article from now on. Oh, and look at that. They condensed the entire facts that what usually takes two pages into just one page. So, to keep your feet warm, put on a hat. 80% of your body heat escapes through your head. Oh, is that why everyone calls me such a hothead? Did you hear the one about the nerve or thought it was a bone? There are 28 bones in your head, your foot has 26 bones, your hand has 27 bones, but your funny bone is not a bone at all, it's a nerve. Yeah, it has a whole lot of nerve to think it's a bone, I say. The driest spot in the world is the Atacama Desert of Chile. There are parts of this high desert where no rainfall has ever been recorded. Well, if you wanted a spot where you could become famous for peeing in it, then there you go. The wettest place in the world is Tutanado, Colombia. It rains an average of 463.4 inches a year. So if Noah had decided to build his ark around that area, well, he'd still be floating to this day. And rainfall in the United States generally ranges from 25 to 45 inches a year. I'm pretty sure we had more inches than that in this last year. Yeah, my area finally got some rainfall and some snowfall. It never rains or snows around here, and yet this last year, or at least these last 6 months, has practically been doing nothing but. So, yeah, good for me, I guess. Good for everybody. Except traffic, I guess. And here's that ad for Disney Adventures. We've seen it over and over and over again. For your eyes only. And I don't remember how it goes. I don't remember how the James Bond theme goes. But yeah, here's some tech stuff that you can buy. So if you're really interested in some microscopes, then check out The Naturalist. I'm sorry, I just realized what I said. Check out The Naturalist. It's not funny, I know. It's just realizing the connotations of what I just said is making me laugh. I'm sorry. But yeah, check out that naturalist. That guy who doesn't believe in wearing clothes and just wanders around their apartment naked, and it works out fine for them until they need to use an oven. And then if you don't want a microscope, you can use a stellaroscope to look at the stars. I'm pretty sure there's an app for that nowadays. I'm pretty sure you can just turn on an app on your phone and all of a sudden you know exactly where you stand in the great cosmos. I mean, I know exactly where I stand. Absolutely nowhere. And finally, we're getting into the video games. This is an ad for Metal Storm. Real heavy metal, dude. Yep, the 90s. Apparently, this is a sci-fi game where you control a robot and you're going to Pluto to stop a giant cannon, something like that. And it has this unique feature where you can push up and a button and you travel around on the ceiling. So it's kind of like that one game, something like that, where you can just adjust physics when you need to. It's also kind of like that one level of the Angry Video Game Nerd game. And from what I hear, it's really, really good. It's a huge technological achievement for the NES. However, it wasn't well advertised at the time and it kind of tanked commercially. So if you do find a cartridge nowadays, it can be worth over $100. So yeah, happy hunting, video game collectors. Oh, and speaking of video games, here's some video game reviews. Here is some of the hottest action in electronic games. I don't think so, considering your choices. If you have any games, questions, or comments, or games you want to let us review, and look at that, they actually changed the scale. They actually took my advice from the last issue where I couldn't tell what colors they actually meant to print, so no, they're just going right back to regular numbers. So good for them. Good for them for learning. Wally Bear and the No Gang. Join Wally Bear as he searches for his friends who have been kidnapped by the evil Ricky Rat, Larry Lizard, and Willard Weasel. Wally Bear rides his skateboard through small towns, big cities, subways, and sewers, avoiding obstacles like falling honeypots and water drops. At the end of each level, he finds one of his friends and gets an important message about the dangers of drug and alcohol abuse. Tip: buildings that go off the top of the screen are worth climbing and exploring. Okay, this is hilarious to me because Wally Bear and the No Gang is technically not a Nintendo game, or at least it's not a licensed Nintendo game. While it was one of the more mass-produced unofficial games for the Nintendo, it was never endorsed by Nintendo, so it had to get around its lockout chips. So that was usually taboo for a games magazine to review back in the day. If it wasn't actually endorsed by a company, then usually game magazines did not or could not review it, because that would usually involve the parent company getting mad and saying, okay, if you're going to review some unofficial stuff, we're not going to let you review any official products. Enjoy trying to stay open after that. And that's the same threat they sent to retailers. If the retailers were going to stock unofficial, technically illegal games, then they wouldn't be given real games. Of course, some companies like Color Dreams managed to get around this by turning themselves into a Christian game company and publishing games for sale in Christian bookstores. So, that's one way, I guess. I mean, Christian bookstores wouldn't be marketing games anyway, so that they have the market cornered there. But it's even sketchy if they even played the game because, number one, that's the title screen. They didn't even bother to show us any gameplay footage. And two, that's an obvious Polaroid. That doesn't even show the entire screen. It's like they just zoomed in on the center of a Polaroid that they took of their TV screen. Look at how blurry and pixelated that is even. So they didn't even capture this with whatever video game capture equipment they had back in 1991. So yeah, I don't know. They might have actually not played this game. They might have just heard a review somewhere and copied that review, basically. Of course, they might not have even been able to find a copy of this because from what I understand, even for the time, copies of unofficial games were a little hard to come by. So I don't know. I don't know the story behind this review, but I do know that Wally Bear and the No Gang is considered one of the tougher games for the NES. It's considered very hard to get through, and yet it's supposed to be an educational game about the dangers of drugs and alcohol. Where, like they say, at the end of each level, we get an important message about the dangers of drug and alcohol abuse, but your message kind of falls through when you can't even get past the first level. But yeah, anyone who's watched early episodes of Angry Video Game Nerd or JonTron probably know this, so I don't know, you want to try it out for yourself, I'm sure you can find an emulator somewhere. And for the Genesis, we have Lakers versus Celtics and the NBA playoffs. Apparently this is one of the best basketball games ever made. I say apparently because I've never played it. I do not like sports games. I'm sorry, I have always been absolutely horrible at any and all sports games. Like, I don't mind baseball, but I'm still terrible at baseball. Okay, fine, kart racing is fun. I play a couple kart racers here and there, but that's basically it. I don't even really like boxing or wrestling games. But yeah, obviously they played this one. That is a much crisper image than Wally Bear and the No Gang there, so I can believe that they actually took some time to play this one. Probably enjoyed it too. I mean, look at that. They even gave it an overall rating of 5. And yeah, from what I understand, this is one of the first sports games to include different player abilities and commentary, and it had very smooth animation for the Genesis. So yeah, I'm not into these kind of games, but hey, if you are, then this is a game that you definitely need to check out if you haven't already. Just go take a little trip back to the 16-bit and see if it's better than, I don't know, NBA 2K22. I don't know. What are we up to now? I have no idea, nor do I care. And here's another ad for another game, Kung Fu Master for the Game Boy. Yeah, Kung Fu Master is that game that most people know for the NES, that everybody knows, nobody's played. Like, it's just kind of one of those games that's there, that people know is for the system, but nobody ever bothers to actually pick up and play. It's just kind of a game that's connected with the system. That's it. I mean, from what I hear, it's pretty good. I haven't played it, but it is one of the quintessential Kung Fu games of its time. It's one of the games that brought an interest of Kung Fu to Western audiences, so I guess we have it to thank for the likes of Chuck Norris and renewed interest in Bruce Lee movies and Jackie Chan being here. And from what I hear, the Game Boy version's pretty good. Not as technically good as the original arcade version, obviously, or even the NES version, but from what I hear, it's not a bad port to have. Also, it was the subject of a French movie, also called Kung Fu Master, and it's not a documentary about the game. No, it's about a divorced housewife who falls in love with and has intercourse with a 14-year-old who's really good at the game. I had a joke about, who says that being really good at video games can't get you laid, but in this case, no, ew, no, ew, no, ew. Anyway, let's watch the taste of that out of our brains with another Tailspin comic. And it continues the Kung Fu theme with Kung Fu Mistress. Oh, that can't be taken to mean something else. Rebecca is having a little problem, but not half the problem Baloo is gonna have if he doesn't wake up. Lady, just give me the poise. Let go, you little rat. Baloo, help me. Baloo, wake up.
Is it time to get up already?
Also, his clock has just decided at that exact moment to ring, so the shrieks and cries of Rebecca didn't get him up, the alarm clock did, so, that's dedication to the job there. It was time to get up 20 minutes ago.
What's eating you, Becky? I'll set the clock in plenty of time for the next client.
But not in time to stop the purse thief.
What are you talking about? You got your purse right. Hey!
Okay, I know I'm supposed to see Baloo as the douche in this instance, but Rebecca, that is not part of his job description. I keep telling you this. It is not Baloo's job to be your bodyguard. If you want somebody to protect your business, then go get some security. If you want somebody to protect you, then get a bodyguard. Baloo is there to haul your products, not to protect you at every step of the way, or to take you out on a date, or to get you birthday presents. So I'm sorry, this is still a toxic employer-employee relationship. It's like when a manager forces an employee to wash their car. That's just not okay? So I'm sorry, Rebecca, I'm kind of still hating you. Excuse please. I hire you to take me to karate exhibition. There is problem, yes? Some thief just tried to rob me and we're a little upset. Aren't we, Baloo? One who knows karate, miss, can defend against anyone, no matter how big. I gotta give them credit, they showed some restraint and didn't make this guy a panda, or a tanuki. Though I don't know, what is he supposed to be, like a honey bear? Isn't a honey bear like Chinese? I don't know, I'm not gonna dwell on it.
That's a good one. I bet you couldn't defend yourself against me.
Please, your honor may to try.
Okay, little fella, but don't take this personally or anything.
No! I want to learn how to do that. There are so many ways to take this panel. I mean, Baloo has been thrown into the water. He clearly lost his jacket there. He's upside down, and Rebecca is pointing directly at, there's your caption contest right there. So, enjoy.
Rebecca returns from her first lesson.
Wow, Miss Cunningham, you look awesome.
No one pajamas looks awesome, Kit.
Pajamas, huh? Well, take this. Hey-ya!
You missed me. Hey, my hat!
And that's just the beginning. And now you're destroying your employees' personal effects. If Baloo wasn't that desperate for a paycheck, you would be on report.
Several lessons later.
Here's the mail. Have you learned any more neat tricks in karate school, ma'am? Hey-ya! Ooh! And now you're assaulting your staff.
Here's the supplies you ordered, Becky. What'd you do on the floor, Wildcat?
Oof. Hey-ya! And now you're destroying your client's stuff. Expect fines and the closure of your business and maybe even jail time in the future, Rebecca. Have you seen Baloo or Wildcat? They are at my feet, in awe over my superior abilities.
Very funny.
Then what are you doing on the floor? Hi-ya! And now you're destroying your own stuff. You know, the trifecta is perfect here. Hey!
That answer your question, Kit?
This is great! This is wonderful! I'll never have to be afraid of anyone again!
I sure wish I could say the same.
Yeah, like I say, toxic workplace, dude.
Sometime later. What you doing in there, little britches?
Hiding! Miss Cunningham's not around, is she? Oh, we can put assault on a minor on the list as well.
Nah, she's off kung fuing or high karateing something or another. So come on out of there, we got some work to do.
Is it safe?
And here's our cargo now, gold bullion.
Wow, we're gonna need an army to protect it.
Never fear, I am here. You're it, there ain't no more.
Oh, this stuff is heavy.
We'll take it off your hands for you. Don't anyone move.
Well, obviously this robbery was staged. This robbery is supposed to happen because who would send a fortune in gold bullion, which technically these two wouldn't be able to carry because even one of those gold bars would be like 300 pounds, and then send one aged guard? No, there's an insurance scam going on here. Absolutely.
Don't look at me. I quit.
What a baby. On God, too sweet, and other French words like that.
What are you, some kind of nut?
You're not getting this cargo, you slithering snakes.
I would let this one go, Baloo. Technically, you're not responsible for this cargo, so, I would just let your boss take the fall for this one. I got this one too, Baloo.
Oh, no you don't.
Let go of me. I gotta help Baloo.
Hey, don't mess up the fur.
A few creases in your coat is the least of your problems, chum.
Baloo, you forgot the order sheets again. How many times do I have to... Oh, dear. Don't worry. I'll save you.
Lady, why don't you just get lost?
Yeah! You don't know who and what you're dealing with here, mister. I am trained in karate. Oh, is that why you're only a white belt the last time we saw you?
Yeah? Well, I'm trained to getting rid of silly fluffheads like you.
Well, he kind of has a point there. Her haircut is ridiculous.
Hey, dog breath, don't you touch her. It's Betty Bye time for you two. Hang on, Becky.
I'm coming.
Oh shoot, I can't kick anyone who's behind me! Well, I'm pretty sure that there's an entire discipline of karate that involves repelling attacks from behind. So, yeah, you brought a foot to a gunfight here, lady.
Well, I can.
Yo!
I'll clear the land, Becky. Just bring her down easy.
So he kicked a guy, the guy goes sailing that way, and Rebecca somehow floats right through him and lands on Baloo there? Physics! Yeah, here's another subscription card with another Bob Saget. I say another Bob Saget, but the same picture we saw earlier.
Any of you clowns still interested in that gold?
Not me, no sir, Oh, Baloo, that thief was right. I am a fluff head. Well, yeah, like I said, you only have a white belt in karate, and you decided to take on 4 armed and dangerous foes. Honestly, I kind of wish you did get knocked about the head for that. Don't be so hard on yourself, Ms. Cunningham. No, she should be. At least you tried. Yeah, tried to get herself killed.
Kid's right, Rebecca. You just have to remember, you're still a beginner at this karate business.
Yeah, like I said, only a white belt. I thought I was a karate expert. White belt. But I was fooling myself. Baloo, look out! Yeah!
You look like some kind of karate expert to me.
Yeah, wonderful. She did one thing right. She lucked out and got one enemy right after trying to get herself killed. Yeah, I don't think that's a victory. I did it! I actually did it! And I'm sure that later on when she relates this fight, every person she tells it to, she's going to talk about how she comes in and fought off all 3 attackers with her bare hands. She is going to make it all completely about her and leave out the actual heroes, and everybody is going to be absolutely sick of that story. So yeah, I'm sorry. Why am I supposed to like Rebecca again? Way to go, Miss Cunningham!
It ain't good, Becky, but do us all a favor, okay? Don't practice on us anymore.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-bop. And here's an ad for some Skybox basketball cards. Again, when I was working on that nostalgia subscription crate, this is some of the stuff that we included in some of the crates. If they asked for basketball and sports stuff, these are some of the trading cards. Because, again, we were able to find a lot of these cards, like unopened, in still sealed trading card boxes. So, yeah, these pretty much littered these subscription crates that we sent out. And like I say, I'm not into these sports cards, so can't really tell you anything about them. And speaking of not having anything to say, here's the sports section on dunks, jump shots, and layups. Basketball stars' favorite shots. Yeah, I literally have nothing to say about this. It's all about basketball. It's all about people and their famous slam dunks. I don't follow basketball. I barely know what a slam dunk is, so I'm just going to skip this one. So here's Michael Jordan. Here's Kevin Johnson. Here's Charles Oakley. Here's Bill Cartwright. Here's Patrick Ewing. And that's it. And now here's an article about hydroplanes, which, again, I really don't have anything to say about. Apparently they took some jet parts, attached it to a boat, and now these boats can go like 200 miles an hour. They don't even touch the water. They're like on the very top film of the water. But also apparently they're incredibly uncontrollable, and a lot of people have died from using these boats. So try a regular speedboat before you try hydroplaning, okay? Okay, that's for your safety and for everyone else's. And here's some more gear you can buy. You can buy a Hornet, which is basically a fancy boomerang, and a Sonic Saucer, which is a saucer that makes noise when you throw it, so it probably sounds like... And here's an Orobi Orbiter that operates like a boomerang, except it's a closed triangle. So, I don't know, if you see any of these lying around at your local thrift store, then now you know what they are. And here's another ad for a video game. Oh, we are getting so many different ads for video games in this issue, and they're all different. We're not getting... I don't think we had a single Little Nemo ad in this one. So that's really nice to see. I just love seeing retro video game ads. So this is Airbuster, which... I thought was Afterburner, but no, this is a horizontal shooter. So you're a jet and you're shooting down futuristic aircraft on your journey to, I don't know, stop some evil organization, I'm sure. And if you buy this game, it comes with a Kaneko video glove. You know, it's a glove you put on and it protects your thumb. It keeps you from thumb cramps and thumb rashes, and I have never gotten one of those. I don't know, I've been a gamer all my life, but even with those much harder video game buttons of the Genesis and the Super Nintendo, I have never gotten a blister on my thumb. I don't know, maybe other people have, but I have never had the thumb problems that a lot of game companies were claiming gamers would get with their products. Though there was that Mario Party thing with the first Mario Party where you had to, like, spin the joystick in order to get a bunch of the games to work. And yeah, that actually could cause damage to both the controller and the player's hand. So they removed those games from most future releases. They didn't do anything with the mechanic for most other future releases. Though I think they included a couple of those on the Nintendo 3DS in their Top 100 game, but of course by then you could just use the stylus to control those games. So yeah, in the Mario Party case, I do agree that that can cause damage to a controller and to your hand, but for just regular game playing, yeah, I think that's just an exaggerated worry from video game companies. And we have arrived at our fifth and final comic. Yeah, this issue has just been brimming with comics. Not as much as the Comic Zone magazines that we're going to be looking at sometime in the future, but yeah, quite a few comics for Disney Adventures. I don't know, I'm wondering when we're going to get into the one-page original comics that they eventually did for Disney Adventures, or really any of the original content. Anyway, this is another DuckTales comic. DuckTales, woo! In Mini Magica. Oh, great, Magica again. And here my voice is giving out. Alright. And there's Doofus. Is he Launchpad's son, nephew, ward? I don't know his relation with everybody else. I don't know. I don't even know if I can do his voice. Rabby, what's this neat trick Launchpad showed me? I can use this remote control to launch and land my new model plane.
You mean crash land, don't you, Doofus?
Ha! I have perfect control. Yipes, it's out of control!
Somehow I'm not surprised.
I mean, his parents named him Doofus. I think when your mind realizes that you're named Doofus, it gives up on everything else, so I don't really think that's all his fault.
Out of yours, Pudgy, but not mine! Here! Oh, I love it when I'm so diabolically evil!
So she needed a model plane to...
And now, plan 293,047 and a half to get Scrooge's lucky dime!
The half is when she debated dressing up as an airline stewardess in order to ambush Scrooge McDuck on a plane and see if his lucky dime was stuck in his luggage somewhere. But then she decided that plan was too stupid even for her.
Hard for me to think small, but I must! Because bad things come in small packages! Hee hee!
That doesn't sound right. I don't know, that sounded right to me. I don't know what kind of joke you're going for. Also, the artwork. Yeah, I mean, the artwork is not terrible, but nothing looks like it has a form. Everything looks amorphous and off-model, so I can understand why they wanted to use the older DuckTales comics that were probably printed in some other collection before they went into the original stuff like this. At least I'm assuming that this is the original stuff. At least I'm assuming that this is freshly made for the Disney Adventures magazine, because, yeah, the artwork is just so much different than what we've seen before. And so far, I don't like it.
Oh no! Mini Magica's trying to cause Maxie trouble!
Well, gee, maybe she shouldn't have announced herself before doing this whole plan thing.
And knowing that witch, I bet I can tell you what she's after!
So if she had just gotten in the plane and flew off to go get Scrooge McDuck's lucky dime, then I think she would have actually succeeded.
This is one butterfly I'd like to mount permanently!
Okay, did she actually just suggest that she hunts and captures butterflies and then taxidermies them and pins them to... Wow, kind-hearted Webby, friend to all animals, is a beast in this comic. Of course, she was in the last comic as well.
Come on, Doofus, help me!
I'm coming, Webby. Trying to stop me? In your dreams, dearie!
Doofus, I told you not to fly your plane so close to my study. Magica dispel!
I'm here for old number 1, Scrooge. Your lucky coin. The secret of your power and wealth. and soon the secret of my power and wealth.
Well, again, if she had just... Well, okay, I guess the crash would have raised a few red flags, but seriously, stop announcing what you're trying to do, and maybe you'll actually succeed for once. Aye, well, you won't get it, you half-pint hag! Also, I thought that his lucky dime was at his mansion, not his money bin, or... Also, his money bin has changed again. Is this like his second money bin, like right in the middle of town? I have no idea what instructions the artists were given for these things. Mr. McDuck, Magica is... Oh, no, doofus! Yeah, he's always worthless, isn't he?
She's headed for the lucky dime!
Well, she won't get it. Give me your net, Webby. I got a great idea.
We're in trouble now.
Yeah, what was the point of Doofus and Bubba on the show? I have absolutely no idea.
You're not gonna like the net results of this, big boy!
And she just conjures a crossbow out of thin air, but, you know, she's still tiny, so it shouldn't be doing... Holy crap! So, apparently she also has growing arrows, because if they're the size that she's supposed to be, then I don't think those arrows would be doing that much damage, but no, apparently they grow to full size and she fires them. So, if she can just conjure arrows and crossbows out of thin air, why didn't she just do that and end Scrooge and family and go get the dime completely unopposed? 1980s Saturday morning cartoon logic.
Catch me if you can, but of course you can't. How evil am I? Let me count the ways. Enough of this child's play. It's time, which rhymes with my favorite word, crime.
Did Magica ever really consider herself a bad person? Did she ever really consider herself a villain? I mean, okay, yeah, she is after the dime and then world domination, but I don't think she ever really embraced crime. She embraced power, sure, but not like pillaging and looting, and I don't know where I'm going with this. Saturday morning cartoon logic, blah, 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 blah. And Doofus has torn the drapes for... Anyway... Also, she has... Oh no, she used a crossbow again, which... Good grief, those are some really strong arrows if they could shatter what I'm assuming is bulletproof glass. Or, you know, Scrooge McDuck has just cheaped out again, and that's like a very cheap fishbowl he found on the side of the road. You know, I wouldn't put it past him.
And now, a situation of gravity. What goes up must come down. Welcome aboard Air Magica.
Well, it's a good thing there was a dime-sized slaughter plane, or else this wouldn't have gone according to plan.
Remember to fasten your seatbelts and return all trays to their upright positions.
You'll not get out of this house, Magica! I have security systems! I have guards!
Right, Scroogey! You have everything but your lucky dime! That's mine!
Well, yeah, but that doesn't invalidate what he just said. You're still not making it out with the dime, so until you make it out of here with the dime, it's technically still his, so...
Drat! Out of arrows!
I'll just have to... Well, you conjured those out of thin air. Why don't you just conjure up some more? Or, I don't know, did you, like, teleport them from somewhere? Were they, like, sitting at your lair and you just opened a tear in space and time and just pulled them out? I don't... This comic is not following any rules, artistic or otherwise. Especially this. Holy crap, Scrooge, you're gonna want to check your neck there. Maybe even your upper arms, because I don't think they're supposed to bend that way.
I'll just have to buzz you!
Turn me tottens! That adult aviatrix is headed for the library! Scrooge, the master of the thesaurus.
Yeah, and not to read either.
Those rare volumes cost me a pretty penny!
After I get through with you, the only thing you'll be reading is Help Wanted ads!
Well, technically he'd still have all his money, so I don't understand that joke.
Tisk, you really should relax, Scrooge. You're all wound up.
How she got him wound up like that, I have no idea.
It's up to us to stop Magica, doofus.
What are you doing with those playing cards, Webby? You gonna deck her?
Okay, that was kind of funny.
Here, take the seltzer bottle.
This is no time to make ice cream sodas, Webby. Again, completely useless.
This is the beginning of the end, McDuck. See you on Skid Row.
And when you're dull, maybe I'll toss you a penny. If you're good, Was that supposed to come from Scrooge? Was that him retorting to Magica's burn, or did they put the word balloons in the wrong place? Because Scrooge doesn't look like he's in any condition to fire back, so I have no idea who's trying to talk here.
What's this? Aces? Jokers? A card like you should be dealt with, Magica!
Who builds a card dealer like that with the little cartoon glove? How practical is... How is it even reaching for the cards?
Why, you menacing little minx! I'm gonna buzz you into next week!
Good night, everybody!
Don't worry, Webby. Oh, blast!
And somehow the seltzer bounces off his face, bounces off of Scrooge McDuck's back of the head, bounces off the bookshelf, and bounces right into Magic. Huh? Also, the dresser that it originally bounced off of is completely absent from this panel. Was there an editor attached to this comic? Like, does it say on the front? Was there an editor? Where's the credits? The writer, artist, lettering, coloring. No editor listed. I don't know. Maybe it's listed somewhere else. But no. This is not a well-drawn, well-written comic. Oh, my dime! Back where you belong! And just a little squirt of seltzer water, which must have lost a lot of pressure coming out of that bottle and bouncing off of everything, is all it takes to make Magica crash her plane. Which, yeah, now Doofus doesn't have a plane, which, okay, he's completely useless, but still, he just lost something that was probably very expensive, so... I don't know. Oh, I said you're all wet, Magica! Hee-hee! And she gets punted into the bird bath. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, didn't like that comic, I gotta say. And now here's a story now this is our first fictional story, and it's about a teacher who just suddenly starts floating in the middle of a classroom. Now, I know I said that I would read these kind of stories out loud if I ever find them, but truthfully, I just don't feel like it. I don't know. There's just something, I don't know, there's something about reading comics out loud, like giving voices to already established characters and trying to follow along with the action. And then there's another thing about just reading a story out loud. I think it kind of loses its charm if you just have somebody else reading a story and commenting on it and trying to give everybody voices. So, no, I'm not going to read this story. I'm sorry. I am going to hold it up and I'm going to tell you what happens in it. So if you don't want to hear me talk about it, then just hit mute on the video right now and just read it for yourself. Just follow along. But, in a nutshell, this classroom has a teacher who starts flying, and the only one who knew anything was the classroom nerd, Ephraim, who said that because everybody was concentrating so hard on their lessons, it was somehow causing their teacher to float up to the ceiling, and the teacher didn't even know what was going on, but he instructed the entire class to start thinking about their teacher falling back down to the ground, and it worked, and the teacher went down to the ground, and the teacher had to take a few days off from class in order to recuperate, but she came back, and she had a whole new appreciation for class, and everybody had a whole new appreciation for Ephraim, and day was saved, everybody was happy. I don't know, if this story happened in like the Wayside series of books, I think this would have been a little better because, well, this sounds like something that would happen in those books with those weird established characters. But by itself, I just think it's entertaining. I think it's just kind of an entertaining short story time waster for little kids. So it's not a bad story. It's just there. And look, they actually did use the Disney icon to signify the end of the article, or the story in this case. So no, they didn't forget to use the icon, so why didn't they use the icon anywhere else in this issue? Yeah, who knows? The only thing I know is that I'm losing my voice here because of that last comic story, so let's just get through the rest of this magazine. Thankfully, we're already at the puzzle section, the Zoc Socks, and I'm still not actually going to call it that unironically. So here's a maze, here's a piranha maze. This goes hand in hand with the piranha article we read earlier. So figure out that maze. Okay, I hope you figured out that maze by now, because now we got to figure out crossword puzzle. So, okay, here's the crossword puzzle. Boo, 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 boo. La 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 boop. Ba-dee bop 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 boo ba ba bee bop 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 bop. Lep ba lup but boop 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 boom boom. And you have figured out that entire puzzle now. And in this one, it's picture message. Write the name of each object you see below in the correct set of boxes. One letter from each word has been placed to get you started. Cross off each picture as you go along. When all the boxes have been filled, 3 pictures will remain. To find out what those 3 objects have in common, read down the shaded boxes. So you're just supposed to know what they were thinking when they chose these specific images, and then hope that you can write them down in each of these boxes. So if you're that kind of guy who likes to do these kinds of puzzles, then here's the puzzle. Okay, we're moving on. Opposites attract. Each pair of initials below stands for a set of opposites. For example, T and B is top and bottom. I know what T and A is. Tee-hee-hee-hee. Can you figure out the others? Okay, that's obviously, let's see. This is obviously up and down, left and right, black and white. I don't know that one. In and out, on and off. North and nor and die. No, I don't know that one. Hot and cold. Big and green. No, I don't. I'm sorry, I don't know that one. M and W, men and women. That's obviously men and women. Salt and pepper. I know that one. And, well, I want to say fast and slow, but there's not enough letters there. So, fat and skinny. Fat and skinny. S-K-I-N-N. Yeah, I'm going to say fat and skinny. You know, we'll find out in a minute when we go to the answers sheet. Oh, look at that. We're at the answers sheet. So here's the answers sheet. So up and down, left and right, black and white, lost and found, in and out, on and off, night and day, hot and cold, boy and girl, man and woman, salt and pepper, fat and skinny. I got some of them right. And there are the other answers to the puzzles that I didn't even bother to do. So there you go. And here's another Captain Crunchberry's page, which I think we've already done this one. And look at that, somebody's already solved it for us.
Let's go to the Crazy Crunch Zoo. And if you can find a box of my yummy cereal, the Peanut Butter Crunch Bird, the Crunchberry Bush, and the Soggies, I'll send you a surprise.
I think I've already made every single joke that I can about this ad, so... but look, there's a Captain Crunch cereal, there's a Captain Crunch cereal, and there's the bird, and there's a bush, and there's a whole bunch of wacky stuff going on. I'll just let you look at it for a second. And seconds up. And they don't have the goodbye. I'm kind of missing that. They don't have the goodbye page anymore. But in our next issue, we get to meet Bronson Pinchot. I think that's how it's pronounced, but yeah, he was kind of a thing in the 80s and 90s. He's not really much of a thing now, but he was in the 80s and 90s. I don't know. Is he still working? I don't know. I guess we'll discuss him more in the next issue. So, yeah, stay tuned. And here's another Capri Sun ad. I think we've already went over this one. And then we have a Jet Set ad, which again is a much better Jet Set ad than the other ad because I have more of an idea of what they're trying to sell. The problem is that what they're selling is absolutely atrocious. I mean, my God, just those neon colors, the bright yellows and the oranges and the mixtures and the, no, I don't care if it is the 90s, I am not wearing any of these. And there you have Disney Adventures, May 1999. So, what have we learned for this issue? That Joe sounds awesome if you place it against any state name. That it is really hard for me to do a Fievel Mouskowitz voice. That there is a knockoff of the Universal Studios Earthquake ride in Tennessee that everybody should really check out, even if you don't enjoy it. And if you stopped announcing your evil plan to everyone and stopped dicking with them long enough to go get the coin that you're after and get out of there, maybe you'll actually win for once. You know, just a thought. So, I hope you enjoyed following along with this issue. I hope you enjoyed my commentary. If you have a minute, please like, comment, and subscribe. It's how these videos get noticed. And if you want to be even better, please check out my Patreon. For $1, I will list you at the end of these videos, and for only $5, I will shout your name to the heavens and thank you for giving me your money and keeping this channel afloat. But whatever you decide, stay awesome, stay safe, be happy, and I'll see you next time for another issue of Disney Adventures. With 100% less goofy.